Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Excuse me there. Reading more of these tweets that are just somewhat nonsensical. We'll get to more of your feedback, 800-239-9569. Also, we will get to Preston Guy at 9:20. Talk LSU with him as Bama set to face LSU this weekend. What's the roster going to look like? The health of a couple different players on that roster, the O-line, Whit Weeks, and then also just what he is hearing and thinks he can expect that will be a little bit different now with Frank Wilson taking over. Before we do more of that, G-Mac, tell our listeners about Bromberg's.
Well, Bromberg's been my go-to for a very long time. It's the only place in the area that I would shop if I were in the market for new jewelry, whether it's diamonds, natural gold, silver, platinum jewelry, just beautiful stuff. And the sales staff elevates the experience beyond anywhere else. That's what I love most about Bromberg's. The experience I get second I walk in the door, have those smiling faces that already know what my wife has, what she likes, already know what my budget's going to be for birthdays, holidays, Christmas, Valentine's Day, you name it. So go and check out Bromberg's. They have a couple locations for you. They're in Summit. They are also in Mountain Brook Village. You can also check them out online at brombergs.com and go see the reason why they've been in business for nearly 200 years. So go check out Bromberg's in Mountain Brook Village and at the Summit. You can also shop online at brombergs.com.
When you look at this weekend's slate, G-Mac, what sticks out the most as far as the playoff is concerned? We mentioned Mississippi State and Georgia a little bit earlier, and that could be a big one. Indiana's at Penn State, but I feel like Penn State gets less and less relevant as time goes on. Now, they played with Iowa and they played with Northwestern, but
yes,
Ohio State sort of manhandled them. I actually will say Penn State was a little problematic defensively in that game. It's just Ohio State had the talent to offset it. Like they had some pressures and some pass rush wins open up. It's just Julian Sain got the ball out and the coverage wasn't where it needed to be. Like I think they can still be problematic up front on defense, but Indiana just has answers. So that's why I don't know if that's going to be as big of an issue for this Indiana team this weekend.
I think Indiana is a really well-rounded football team. It will be very difficult for Penn State to defend them. It does lead me to believe that Elijah Surratt, for example, the wide receiver, him being at 100% would be beneficial. He's had a bit of a hamstring issue, so we'll be watching him closely. I just think Indiana's defense is going to cause way too many problems for Penn State. I think they're going to play in the backfield. They're going to create tackles for loss. They're going to put a lot of pressure on the young quarterback, Grunkemeyer, who might throw him one or two, which is not great. I look at this weekend, and this weekend to me is a really, really dangerous weekend for a lot of teams. Georgia is an example of one. I'm not saying Georgia loses, but I think this is a remarkably dangerous game. Very, very tough spot. And you're sandwiched between a physical Florida game and Texas next week. A little road trip to Starkville. Oh, no big deal, right? Well, those Bulldogs with the Cowbells had a 17-point lead on Texas in the fourth quarter. Now, I would love it if Mississippi State played slightly more complimentary football, but I don't know, man. I think that's a very dangerous spot for Georgia. I think Oregon's got a really, really tall order coming up this weekend. Oregon does not like to do the dirty stuff. They don't like it that way. And Iowa is going to muddy up that game in the nastiest way possible. Disgusting weather, by the way, expected in Iowa City. So, Oregon, I think if it becomes a track meet, they are a handful in a track meet. You do not want to play them in a track meet. But I'll play them in a phone booth. I don't know if you see it the similar way there. I think that's a very dangerous game. I am not sold on Oregon yet. I'm just not there.
So do we need to label this weekend? Is this like
I'm
be
saying
careful Saturday?
Stub your toe Saturday. Like this is a stub your toe Saturday.
Wow.
I mean, it really is. Those are two that are on the road. Okay. You also have a couple of teams that are at home that are, comfortable favorites that I think could be challenging. Like I think that Wake Forest is going to have something for Virginia. Like Wake Forest is good on defense, man. Like they're really good on defense. And Virginia, bit of a front-running group. they get you early on offense. If they can get going a little bit, get into a rhythm offensively, they're in a good spot. I think Bama.
I went against Virginia last week. That didn't work. So
you what?
I went against Virginia last week and it didn't work. So
I'm not necessarily picking the upset. I just think it's a very dangerous spot, a tricky spot. Like,
you're
for
saying
example, like I think
you're saying they could stub their toe.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think Bama LSU is a very dangerous game. I think you're going to get LSU's best this weekend, back against the wall, playing for Frank Wilson, playing for the L on the chest. Like I think you're going to get the best version of LSU, and Bama's going to have to play well. I really believe that. I think every Bama fan knows it's still Bama LSU. Like, they got guys, they have players. You got to play well in this game. So I just think there's a handful of games this weekend. Guess what? I think Vandy better be ready in this game against Auburn. It's at home, but if Vandy doesn't play well, and I know they've had Auburn's number and all this other stuff, I get that. They've had Hugh Freeze's number and whatnot for 4 years, now dating back to his time at Liberty. But I'm telling you, I think that's a tricky game. I think it's a very tricky game, especially if Auburn's defense can play well. So I just think there's a handful of games this weekend that are not maybe on the surface looking dangerous. And we're going to fast forward to Saturday night. It's like, whew, man, we are fortunate to get out of that one.
The PCS is back. Be careful Saturday.
Or we're going to be sitting there saying, okay, whew, man, I can't believe we lost. Like, there's going to be teams that are saying that on Saturday night, and we're not expecting it right now. Like, I think Tulane's going to go up there and get Memphis. And Tulane got run out of the gym last week.
That's going to be a great game Friday night.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be phenomenal.
What about Texas A&M? You didn't throw them into this mix at Mizzou.
I don't love the matchup for Mizzou.
A&M has been really good against that stretch play under Elko. Like, as the DC and as the head coach, like, he's kind of had an answer for that offense specifically. So yeah, I get that. I will say this. I think the Missouri defense can cause some problems up front for A&M. But I don't know if that's going to be enough, because you better be disciplined when you cause those problems. Marcel Reed's proven he can make you pay. And I'd be interested to see if A&M can lean on them late. It will depend on the score of the game, tempo of the game, things of that nature. But can A&M lean on Missouri late in that game? And can Missouri find a way to get the run game going consistently? Without their starting quarterback, it's probably going to be tough, especially against that pass rush. Like, that's going to be tough. Should Miami be worried about? That game is all about
first and second. That game is all about first and second down for Missouri's offense. They cannot live in third and long.
Yeah, I think you could probably say that about anybody playing A&M, honestly.
Fair, but Missouri more than most. I think they're good in the run game. I think and also, do we have an update on Norfleet? Is he a go?
I have not seen. No.
If he's not a go, that's also a problem. Not just because, look, it's great to have a valuable extra weapon for a young quarterback in the passing game that's big and physical with a nice catch radius. Like, that's all great. I need him protecting one of those edges and giving a couple rib shots on the way out. So you put them in that little wing alignment. Him giving the business to a defensive end before he gets out on a route on third and long would be really big as well. So Norfleet being able to go is something I'll be watching closely.
All right, so we'll go back to LSU, Alabama in a moment. We'll visit with Preston Guy on that. We've been talking college football playoff rankings, how this weekend will affect those. Chris wants to chime in on the Higginbotham hotline and discuss college football. Welcome into the show, Chris.
Hey, guys, I got a couple of quick questions, and I'll hang up and listen. Greg, you mentioned a while ago possibly 6 SEC teams getting into this playoff. I was just wondering, do you think that will get the talk going for an expanded playoff, but maybe 16 teams? And also, if Virginia loses, them, Louisville, and Georgia Tech would all have one conference loss. If that happens, then they all went out from there. So my question is, if Virginia, Louisville, and Georgia Tech finish with one conference loss, which two would play for the ACC title? And I'll hang up and listen. Thanks.
You want to have full-fledged panic meltdown mode? Watch the SEC get 6 in and the Big Ten get 2. You want to talk about the
Is that because of the potential ACC conundrum that was just thrown out? because I still want to answer to that. I don't know how to answer that. John, you're the one that said you had that figured out a minute ago.
Well, all I know is with the ACC, the order of, I think the 7th tiebreaker, it's up to the conference who plays. They just decide. So let's just hope it doesn't get to the 7th.
The conference who plays. What do you mean?
Yeah, Virginia, you got it.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. We'll do Miami, Florida State.
You should just roll dice.
Yeah, roll dice, highest numbers in. So yeah, that's like the 7th tiebreaker, but there's a bunch that get there before that. In the event in which there's 3 teams with 1 loss, it would, I think, go down to who played the toughest conference schedule. So basically, win-loss record in conference amongst your conference opponents. So basically, you really don't want to play Boston College. You really don't want to play those bottom tier teams, because that could really have an impact on how your conference schedule's played out, because Boston College could be a 1-7 or an 0-8 ACC team.
If everyone ends up 7-1 in conference, SMU would be 4th, Virginia would be 3rd, Georgia Tech would be 2nd, Duke would be 1st.
Wow.
Now, Duke and Virginia play, I think, next weekend, so that kind of – but all of a sudden, just like that, Duke, who I don't believe is even ranked, could – if everyone in the ACC ends – well, not everyone, but if the teams near the top all end up with 1 loss, Duke and Georgia Tech would be fighting for the conference title.
Unranked Duke against number 24, Georgia Tech, fresh off a loss to the Georgia Bulldogs. Up next, 7:30 on ABC. Sean McDonough, Greg McElroy, and Molly McGrath on the call. I'm ready for it. We just did the open right there. Let's go.
He's like, how did we get here?
Yeah.
In that scenario, we will see you in Dallas for the Big 12 title game.
Please.
That is the ACC, man. It is shocking, right?
What I think people need to understand about this is you're talking about some of these teams maybe getting into the ACC championship game and winning, and then what that does to the playoff field. Because you have all those other ACC teams to now potentially choose from to possibly get in or not get into the playoff. That's why this is a relevant conversation.
Sure.
And one that could wreck a lot of shop, just being honest.
Yes.
Like, could be really weird.
Really weird. And I honestly, like the ACC, though, seriously, bigger picture here, taking a step back. Cole, growing up, your impressions of the ACC?
I mean, when I was coming up, first off, this Big East, then ACC. But early ACC was dominant.
No doubt.
Florida State, Miami, and you had a couple. I mean, you had Virginia Tech that was a real player for a lot of the time there. You had other teams that stepped up in different moments, like Syracuse was a real player for a little bit. Pitt was a real player for a little while. Like it was a strong conference.
Yep. It's amazing how much it's fallen, right?
It is.
Like, and it's not like, I mean, Miami was, when I was in school, Miami was fine. They weren't great, right? But Virginia Tech was the real deal. And they were a perennial top 10 to 12 program every year. Virginia Tech was legit. Clemson was always very good. Florida State was always very good. Louisville had some years where they were quite good. They were, of course, in the Big East throughout that period as well. I mean, the ACC for a long, Boston College had a couple great years with Matt Ryan in there as well. I mean, there were some really good ACC teams. Maryland, of course, prior to their move to the Big Ten, had some years. Like North Carolina had some great years in recent history. In the last 10 to 12 years, North Carolina's been in the mix some. It's just great. NC State with Phillip Rivers back there in the early 2000s had some great years. It's just Georgia Tech when they were going triple option there early. Yeah, I mentioned Louisville. Louisville was Big East, but they were excellent, right? When Brian Brom was there and others like that. It's just it's kind of crazy because it's not for a lack of resources. It's not. It's not for a lack of talent or recruiting footprint. It's not. It's just kind of mind-blowing how much the league as a whole has taken a bit of a step back.
Yep.
And I know it's cyclical. I understand that. But tell me the cycle where the SEC hasn't been good. Tell me the cycle where the Big Ten hasn't been good. There's never been
There's
one.
not many of those.
And I think the Big 12 in many ways has passed the ACC by a pretty decent margin. Now, they might not have necessarily the historical relevance with some of the programs that they've added, but Arizona State's got a high ceiling. BYU has won a national championship in the last 40 years. Utah has been very, very good. Colorado has won a national championship in the last 35 years. Like, if you look at the teams that have been added to the Big 12 as a whole, you have to admire some of the adjustments that they've made. And collectively, when you've brought in programs that really have had recent success, Cincinnati's been to the playoff. UCF has had one heck of a run. Granted, not the same as what they once were. Even West Virginia in the last 20 years has had opportunities to play for a title. That was in the Big East, but good program, right? Houston has played in New Year's Six bowl games. I think just collectively the depth in the Big 12 is significantly better than that of the ACC. And I think the floor of the ACC is really dragging some of those top programs down with it. And I think it's being used against them on the recruiting trail. And that's kind of crazy to think about it.
Yep. All right, got to get to a break. When we come back, Preston Guy going to help us preview Alabama and LSU next right here on Jocks. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Glad you're with us. We're going to continue previewing Alabama and LSU coming up this weekend. GMAC going to be on the call for that game. Don't know exactly what we're going to get from LSU. How's it going to look? Well, if you want to look better, feel better, Game Day Men's Health can help you. I can tell you right now, Game Day Men's Health wants you to get in better shape, remove the brain fog, get better sleep, have more energy. They can do that by going to GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Sign up for the free consultation. You're going to get the free PSA test, the free testosterone test. They're going to find out your baseline health and then let you know what they can do for you. Maybe it's weight loss programs. Maybe it's the peptides that are in stock. All of those right there at Game Day Men's Health, and you can save 10% on any service they offer by mentioning Mac and Cube when you walk in the front door. Holistic approach to health and wellness, minimal upfront costs from all those programs they offer, now open in Trustville. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com today. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com. See what they can do for you. On the Higginbotham hotline is Preston Guy. He covers LSU. LSU at Bama this weekend. Preston, it sounds like a lot of positives are coming out of Frank Wilson being the interim, whether it's practice habits, guys being motivated. Start with this, though. How healthy is this LSU football team moving into this matchup with the Crimson Tide?
I mean, they're certainly going to be the most healthy they've been in a while. Gabe Relaford will be out for the season, but, you know, a lot of this front seven that we've seen be hurt and banged up, we're expecting Whit Weeks to be back, but, you know, we'll have to see how close to 100% he is. Obviously, that front seven, you know, in the last 2 weeks has been banged up, and we saw they weren't the same defense without these guys in the lineup. It'll be nice to see them back because we saw what happened to this LSU football team when that defense wasn't able to carry it to victory. Turns out it was bad enough to get your entire university fired just about.
So what is the emotional state right now? I know Frank Wilson's number one thing is to rally the troops and get the boys ready to roll. Do you think he's done that? Are the guys in a good mental spot heading into this game?
Yeah, I think Frank is a great motivator. You know, a leader of men is kind of the mold of coach he is. And, you know, he's, you know, a Louisiana son. And it's hard not to respect his body of work. And, you know, I think players are, you know, definitely having a positive reaction to his message, which, you know, maybe the message that Brian Kelly had been given over the last few years was one that wasn't, you know, it wasn't seen eye to eye with the players in a lot of ways. We're seeing a lot of reports of that coming out now. So certainly we're expecting to see a more motivated, fired up unit this weekend under Frank Wilson. And we'll see if some of that, you know, Louisiana pride and energy kind of restores itself on this team.
Preston, are there any answers, any thoughts to how some of this stuff got away from the team? We hear Frank Wilson saying Blake Baker came to him and said, "Hey man, I need run looks to get better.
Yeah.
We need physical practice time." We talked to Brian Kelly a couple weeks ago when we had him, and it was after the bye week, and he said, "You know, we're getting the chutes and the sleds going again." And I'm like, "Where'd they go? And how long have they been gone?" Well, since spring. And it's just kind of like, how did Brian Kelly knows football. Like, how did they get away from so much of this stuff?
Yeah, it's a bit of a frustrating, you know, scenario that they did lack this physical, realistic look in practice, and we're hearing about that being something they're doing for the allegedly first time this week. And it's like, well, how does that happen? You know, there's a lot of questions that you have from the Brian Kelly tenure, and you kind of ask yourself, how does a man who's won, you know, close to 300 football games in his career just simply overlook these things? And it's frustrating on a lot of levels and disappointing on a lot of levels. And ultimately, Brian Kelly, the signature of his tenure at LSU was one step forward, two steps back. You know, I mean, you would put all this focus on improving one area of the football. You know, like 2023, that defense was just historically awful, and he put all this time, money, resources in rebuilding the defense. Well, then you let Mike Denbrock walk and go to Notre Dame, and your offense takes just as many steps back. And it's this lack of attention to detail that we saw throughout the tenure, why you're letting areas that you've got good. You have a historically good offense. Sure, you lost all those guys to the NFL, but you certainly had enough talent to kind of at least get things rocking and rolling and looking good, maybe not great, but have a good offense, and then just a general lack of it's just reactionary football. You're reacting to what you're struggling with instead of proactively making sure you're a complete football team. And that lack of being able to put together a complete football team is why LSU had to pay $53 million to get a change in leadership.
It's pretty crazy when you think about it. Offensively, with Joe Sloan being gone, Alex Atkins being in, I think it's hard for a Tiger, no pun intended, to change their stripes at this point of the season. But I do think there's pretty big difference in run game philosophy from what Joe Sloan had versus what Alex Atkins has traditionally done. So how different do you think this offense will look?
Yeah, I definitely foresee there being more of a power running game approach. And Alex Atkins, he's an offensive line coach by, his background. Yeah, he's called offenses, but I would anticipate more of a power running element being involved. Also worth noting, Frank Wilson is a running back coach, and he's literally said, "I promise you, we will run the ball." So one of the very frustrating things was LSU basically refused to line up under center this entire year. They have used no semblance of a fullback, and as you've seen, LSU hasn't been able to convert short yardage situations to save their lives over the last 2 years. Basically, under the Brian Kelly tenure, they're the only successful, consistent short yardage offense was Jaden Daniels making plays with his legs. And you're not exactly going to just line up with a Heisman winning quarterback every play, or every season, I should say. So I would expect that they've installed a good bit of a power running element, and they're going to focus a little bit more on that. I don't know if they necessarily have the Jimmies and Joes to pull it off, because ultimately this offensive line, they are who they are, but I do think they're going to try some different looks. This is going to be more of a traditional power football team than it was under Joe Sloan, in my opinion.
Preston Guy joining us to talk Alabama and LSU coming up this weekend. Do you view this because of everything that's happened? Now, it's hard to sit there and say, Preston, a coach gets fired, so therefore I feel better about your chances to go beat a good football team. But because it's Frank Wilson, because of some of these changes were necessary, do you almost give LSU a much better chance now than you would have 4 or 5 weeks ago when it still felt like there was hope for LSU, but you didn't really know exactly who they were or what they were?
I don't necessarily think so. I mean, I know LSU, when Ed Ogeron took over, had a really great run as an interim coach, and the team looked better. And I do expect there to be more fire and passion on the team, because historically speaking, when coaches and people are getting fired, people get reinvigorated. They wake up, So I do think they'll play with more energy, but I don't know that, I would temper my expectations. Frank Wilson is still a coach who in 4 seasons as a head football coach never had a winning season, right? So I don't necessarily know that he's got some magic sauce that's going to make LSU go out there and upset a great team like Alabama this weekend. I do expect there to be new life and energy and lack of quit on this team this weekend because of that. But I just don't see how, this offensive line is going to go from, struggling to stop anybody to being world beaters just because, Frank Wilson reinvigorated the team. I would temper my expectations on that.
Yeah, that would be the one area that I would say is still most likely to be very problematic. You're not fixing.
You mean they're
that
not going to
in a bye
block
week.
better because they changed the coach?
You're not fixing that in a bye week.
Exactly. Yeah. You're not going to have a better time blocking the 300-pound wall of man in front of you just because some guy motivated you better. Eventually you're going to have to just have good offensive linemen.
Totally.
Yeah,
fair.
those dang linemen, they just have to have someone motivate them. Jerks.
Exactly.
It's unreal. It's unreal. Cole, I
That's
blame
it.
you. Looking at Nussmeier, I've heard all year long about the injuries and things like that. The reality is just hasn't been playing good football. He's gotten hit a lot. There's no denying that, and I don't blame anybody for being frustrated. But I see a guy like Arch Manning getting hit over and over and over again in the first 7 games, and now he's starting to play his way out of it, and the O-line's getting better, and he's starting to play well. So is this something that can be fixed with Nuss, or is he just kind of who he is at this point?
Yeah, I'll say this. Early on in the season, certainly there were some throws you're looking at and just saying that's very uncharacteristic. And against Ole Miss, he really wasn't able to throw the ball more than 15 yards downfield. There certainly was something off with him. That being said, since then, he's been healthy. He's been throwing the ball downfield, and the offense hasn't necessarily been clicking. And, yeah, a lot of it you do have to just put right back on Nussmeier's shoulders. You have to stop making excuses for a guy at a certain point. We're talking about a guy with more than 7,000 yards passing on his career, a guy who's a fifth-year senior. Eventually there's just certain throws and decisions you got to make. And he's always had boneheaded decisions his whole time. He's always been this just reckless gunslinger. And, those are things you got to just – you can't afford to throw into triple coverage, on a throw that absolutely must be a dime in tight competitive football games. So, yeah, that is. But also around him, it's just there's always been a litany of different errors with this team. It's just you think about you really start to realize how many things have to go right to have a successful complete pass when you're looking at all the things that can go wrong. Pass protection has to be there. Well, okay, one play you might get pass protection, then the throw has to be there and on time. Well, then Nussmeier might fail a throw. Okay, then the catch has to be there. The route has to be ran right. You have to make the right decision. And just there's been so many different minute issues with this passing attack. It's been frustrating. And when you have so many different things going wrong, admittedly, it is difficult to straighten all of them out at once. It's not like, okay, let's just get the offensive line blocking better. Let's make some pass protection. Let's give an extra running back assisting blocking. That's our one issue, and we're going to iron it out, and for the rest of the season, we'll be good, just making a tweak. It's no tweak. It's an overhaul is what's needed when you have that many issues. And that's kind of why I go back to this isn't – I don't think Frank Wilson's going to have any magic powder up his sleeve and just magically make the team function and perform a lot better, because the reality is this offense hasn't scored more than 25 points against the Power 5 team this year. There's no magic wand that you're going to have that's going to – these are all guys that were on staff before, by the way. That's going to just magically fix this litany of issues we've seen.
There's no doubt. Appreciate the time, Preston. Great stuff helping us get set for this game. Look forward to catching up with you again soon.
All right, guys. Talk to y'all soon.
All right, there we go. Preston Guy joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline to discuss Alabama and LSU. More coming on that game. You can follow Preston, by the way, at pguy77 on Twitter. Find his work at The Advocate. So I think it could be a complicated game. Could be a little bit more of a tricky game than some people are saying. We'll keep discussing that one and more next right here on Jocks. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. I teased something earlier in the show that we didn't get to, and I want to get to it now. All dog lovers on this show, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Story comes out yesterday from Bailey Richards, writer at People magazine, about the great Tom Brady, who's done a lot of good things in his life, done a couple weird things. Turns out that Tom Brady cloned his former dog that died 2 years ago. He revealed that his current dog, Junie, is a clone of his late dog, Lua, who died in December 23. None of us like talking about dogs passing away. It's never easy, never fun.
It's the worst.
He said dogs were cloned by Colossal Biosciences, a biotech company that Brady's an investor in, using blood collected prior to Lua's death. Where are we on this? I need to know.
Not surprised. He is an investor in a company and is pushing that investment. He's an influencer now.
Okay, not where are we on the entire topic of cloning our dogs for more dogs?
I don't have a problem with it. It's a dog, first and foremost. Secondly, if you have a specific type of dog that you love very much, and the pain of losing a dog is so real, and I've said this a million times, like, man, I wish I could just have Ollie forever. Like, our other dog, Marshall, died a couple years ago. It was awful. He was only 5. It was, like, just a hard thing to deal with. The poor buddy was just sick his whole life. Like, I would love to just have those same 2 dogs because I'm comfortable with those dogs in the dynamic of our household. So yeah, like I can understand why someone would do that, but at the same time, there are so many dogs that need a home, and there are so many dogs that provide incredible experiences for your children and for you. So I would not be one that would clone one, but if I invested in a company and I can financially benefit from pushing that company, I can't say that I would not follow suit in the way Tom Brady's following suit.
Okay. Let's just say you did want to go down this route. What do you think a fair price would be to clone Ollie?
It's
and
feeling like
then if there's a girl, it could be Molly.
Yeah. Well, if you cloned a boy dog and made a girl dog from the boy dog, that'd be tricky. But I'd be curious to know how you do that.
Who knows? This cloning thing's not exactly completely figured out yet. So
apparently
we're still working on it.
It's feeling like
I've
six
seen
figures.
Jurassic Park. They made hybrids.
I can't even imagine how much it would cost.
I feel like 6 figures.
Nah, I don't know if it'd be that high, but it'd be
I think
extensive.
it's now. I think maybe once they've beta tested this a few times and roll it out, it may drop down. But if we want to roll up today and be like, do this, I'm thinking like 150, 200, 250.
Not quite. According to Initiate Cloning, we just got cloning companies out there.
Okay.
Total cost of dog cloning is $50,000, paid in 2 installments. Now, to clone a cat, it's actually the same price.
Okay.
Don't get crazy.
Should cost less.
$50K to clone your dog or cat.
That is crazy.
I mean, the first thing I saw when I saw the story is like, I there's part of it that I get, but like, tell me you have more money than you know what to do with, without telling me you have more money than you know what to do with.
Fair, but what
Now,
are you
being an
spending money
investor,
on if
being
you're
an,
Tom
being
Brady?
an investor in the company, I don't think that he just said, "Here's my black Amex, charge $50,000 for
Right, yeah.
Lua, and make me another one." But yeah, it works a little bit differently that way. But still, you're rolling around and you like your dog, and you're like, you know what? Let's genetically keep this going.
We got a good thing going. Let's just keep it rolling. I just feel like sometimes when you're as rich as Tom Brady, like legit outside of, investing, what the heck do you spend money on?
What's the market for this, though? Honestly, like
There can't be a significant one.
Yeah, how many people are out there like, you know what, we gotta get another Fido, but it's technically not, right?
You would think.
It isn't.
Fido.
Because you're made up of your life experiences, whether you're a dog, cat, hamster, lizard, snake. And so the next one's not growing up the same way. It doesn't have the same interactions with you. Like, I have a dog that's 16 years old. I got that dog before I met my wife. So that dog and I have been through a lot. That dog's been through a lot. It's been through a marriage and 3 kids, literally. So if I clone that dog again and we start like next year, it's not getting the same me. It's not getting the same Catherine. The kids are not, it's not being introduced to kids coming home from the hospital. So it's not the same.
Also, like, what age are you getting this dog? Like, is it being bred like from birth, or is like all of a sudden is it being popped out at like 4?
You got to go ask in Gentech or whatever it is. I don't know. I've seen Jurassic Park, but I didn't see that part of it. They didn't show us that. They just showed him running around. Okay.
Find that out for us if you can now.
I did. They had the egg in the thing with the robot that moved it, so I imagine they birth it. They just throw the hybrid T-Rex out there in the island, hoping it makes it. At what age do you let the T-Rex go and say, we think he's good? He can handle himself against Stegosaurus now. Let him roll. He's good. Oh, he can handle those velociraptors now. Set him free.
He hadn't shown any hostility. It's fine.
Yeah. Triceratops ain't messing with him. He's a good 1,300 pounds. Cut him loose. I don't know the answers to these things.
He's done all he needs to do.
It's a good question, though, John. Like, are you getting 6-year-old Fido or are you getting 6-month-old Fido? I don't know when they just hand it to you. Do we get the special training that some of these people pay like $5,000 for, where it obeys every command?
But if it's a clone, the dog would have already gone through that and therefore should know it, right?
Fair. But
I see what you're asking. Like, you're asking what age dog is being cloned to the next one.
That's the other thing.
Like, like my dog's name was Bentley. Is it 16-year-old Bentley or 6-month-old Bentley? Because 16-year-old Bentley just does circles around the house because she can't see or hear. Right. It doesn't even know what's happening.
Yes.
So
I'm guessing you're getting a pretty young version at 50K.
I would imagine. I imagine like, you dictate what age you're getting for 50,000.
I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but I just feel like maybe there's other ways, and cloning, I'm sure at some point will become something that is real in our society. As weird as that may be, it wouldn't surprise me. You know, as strange as that may sound, nothing surprises me anymore. Especially when you talk about, you know, there's a lot of layers to this conversation we don't have time for.
Well, how many layers? How many conversations about layers of flooring would you like to have?
Well, a lot. But I mean, people talk about like organ transplants and things like that, and cloning can be used for that as like a donor and cadaver. It's like it's very messed up. Like it's like an ethical conversation that we don't have time for today. But here's the thing that I find interesting about it from a dog standpoint, purely as a member of the family and having a relationship with the dog. I just don't understand, like you said, the market. Like, what's the upside in the market? Unless there is some type of technology here that is unique and proprietary and can transcend into other aspects of our society, what is the market for people that are willing to spend $50,000 on a dog? I don't know one. I don't know a single person that would be willing to do that.
You got to be hoping that this is you're hoping that there's a bigger something for this technology.
Of course there is.
Yeah.
Of course there is. And that's
like bringing Godzilla back, basically. Is what we're
definitely bringing Godzilla
I don't know,
back.
Them golden doodles were fetching a pretty penny when this first came out.
That's fair. And they basically, when you look at them, they basically are people.
Yeah.
Inside fur.
Yes.
So maybe we want to bring Megalodon back. I don't know.
Megalodon would rip nowadays. But then again, supposedly the ocean temperature is not conducive. Based on what I saw in Jurassic World Dominion, or whatever the most recent one is.
It's too warm?
The ocean temperature, they can only live close to the equator. That's where the dinosaurs have to live.
Well, at least we know the Gulf of America is still swimmable.
That's what you think. I don't know. I'm
Maybe that's
not
where the
getting in that
Meg ends
water.
up.
Hold
Yeah,
on, you've seen
that's
the latest Jurassic Park?
Yeah, no, I might have had it on the other day on the flight in the background with one ear in.
More
I thought that was only
Can't
on.
say.
I thought that was only on like Paramount or something. Yeah,
It just dropped.
No. It was on Delta. Seat back entertainment.
Delta. That streaming service has never gone up. I'll give them credit for that.
Yep, Delta's free. Yep, can confirm.
It goes
except
out
for
often.
The billions that we spend on flights every year. You know what doesn't cost billions? Getting new floors at Shannara Flooring. You can go and get that Core-Tech flooring right now, 20 to 40% off. It's deals like that, man, that you got to take advantage of. It's the time of year, end of year. They've stockpiled a ton inventory, 50,000 square feet of Core-Tech flooring by Shaw in stock. It's got that 20 mil wear layer. It's durable, dependable, waterproof, pet-proof, kid-proof, even cloned pet-proof, which is great too, from what I've been told. So this is the type of flooring that you want to install. It's going to increase the value of your home or business. So go and check them out today by going to fooandyou.com. That's Shannara Flooring. Go to fooandyou.com.
All right, when we come back, the baddest bad box score of the day next. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. 9:51, Wednesday, November 5th, right here on Jocks. Before we get to one of the baddest of the bad box scores, I will tell you about Gusty Goulas and the Gusty Goulas Group. If you're looking for a new home in Central Alabama, Gusty Goulas can help you. Brokered by eXp Realty. Call 205-542-1996 or go to gustygoulasgroup.com. Over 855 star Google reviews, serve more than 3,000 home buyers and sellers in the greater Birmingham area. Gusty Goulas wants to help get you into a new home. And with all those customers that they have helped in Central Alabama, They're going to know the inventory that's coming available. Thousands of dollars invested in the latest tools like social media, photographers, and more. Since 2012, Gusty Gould's Group recognized both nationally and locally as Greater Birmingham, Alabama's #1 team in homes sold. Go to GustyGouldsGroup.com today to find out more. All right, let's get to our bad box scores of the day. I need to preface this with Bethesda University, their women's basketball team had the flu. They had 5 players available in the game.
Oh.
5.
5 players available.
Only 5.
That's all you need.
Good depth.
That is fair. I will say that at least we've seen teams play with 3.
Yeah.
Almost 1.
Now,
So it can be done.
if you remember, we went a different direction with this one earlier in the week. They are the Lion Angels. Now, they took on Cal State Northridge, the
Warriors.
Gauchos?
Matadors.
Matadors.
The score of the game was 103-13. The score after 1, 22-0.
Okay.
Well, that's not that bad.
Score at the half, 30-0.
Well, they scored more in the second
Only
half.
8 in the second? They ran out of gas. No depth.
The score halfway through the third, 72-0.
So
Coach
all their
let
points
into
came in
them
the
at
fourth
half.
quarter.
They let into them at half. You only let them at 30. He's better than this. It's Bethesda.
For a final score of 103-13.
Only had 5 and didn't lose by triple digits. That's saying something.
That's all
The
you
effort
need.
was there.
Points off turnovers, 31-0. Second chance points, 36-1. Bench points, I probably don't need to tell you
Yeah.
that Bethesda did not score any off the bench as they only had 5 ladies available to play in the game.
Yeah.
However, Cal State Northridge did score 67 off the bench.
So they.
6-7.
Oh, boy.
Stop it. You did not just do that
Oh,
on this
boy.
show.
I'll turn off his mic.
That was
Done
bad.
for the day.
That was bad.
Sophomore Leani Dolan came off the bench to lead Cal State Northridge with 19 points. Now,
Pretty solid.
pay close attention here. Remember, 72-0 run to start this game, which ended in the third quarter. The
Yeah.
shutout, at least. Including 5 3-pointers in the fourth quarter.
I mean,
Ooh. Bury him.
you got to do what you got to do.
No, you don't.
You gotta
No, you
do what
don't.
you gotta do.
No, you don't. Up 90 points, you don't have to shoot 4 threes in the fourth. You don't have to do that.
It's up to.
No, you don't.
It's up to the ladies to
Try
stop
to
her.
dunk instead.
Maybe her NIL is 3-point dependent.
Punt the basketball full court before you start loading up threes up 90. You don't
You
do
want to
that.
play ball control. Cole wants to shrink the game, play ball control. That's his knock. He doesn't have that killer instinct.
Right. It's up to them to stop her.
She comes up in the game up 90 and just goes full
It's the one chance
Stephanie
you
Curry.
Well, at that point, why not?
get. Yeah, right.
I would do the same dang thing.
The margin of victory for the Matadors is the largest in their history, 90 points. The old record was set February 3rd of 1977 versus UC Irvine. They beat the Anteaters 113-46 there. Jeet Giebemauter grabbed a team-high 16 rebounds in her debut.
Did you check the pronunciation there? Are we sure that's on?
Gbemuotor.
Oh,
You
boy.
have a go at that one.
I don't. I don't have a try. I don't have to try.
And
She's snagging
Maya
boards, though.
Contreras secured the first Matador double-double of the year with 13 and 10. Really? When did the 4th, 5th, and 6th one come? In the next 10 minutes?
All in this game.
12 different players scored. One team couldn't get a 6 in. Another team had 12 scoring points.
Oh.
The baddest of bad box scores. 3-man front coming at you next. We're back tomorrow, 7 to 10.